There are macro level curses and limiters, both positive and negative, projected by things like celestial bodies, planets, moons, meteorites, haunted places, sometimes stars, depends. Usually there's a quarantine that keeps it from happening, or it's a temporary thing if a star emits it, or they're going through something that they usually would not want that happening in that collective consciousness in that star. But sometimes that's how it gets in, or through back doors in the solar system if it's projected from other star systems, which does happen. So, but let's bring it down. So, like for planets, for an example, when I track back a lot of things, I do see planet-wide curses being put onto planets to limit them, as well as projected off of planets to bound from planet to planet, affecting multiple things in a grid, like a curse grid, or even like the entire solar system. If it's put in effective geometry, it usually works stronger by these beings, limiting the entire scope of what the solar system contains. And those can be removed from affecting the individual, usually, or what's needed is a mass healing of the planet, whatever you want to do first. For example, like Saturn. Saturn is the biggest processor of dark energy in our solar system. If we didn't have it, a lot of the planets would already be destroyed based on it being a valuable piece of the puzzle to maintain the existence of the solar system to what it is now towards the future. It gets really haunted. It takes on a lot. It holds a huge man's place responsibility. That also affects the planet and affects its consciousness and all versions of itself. I don't envy its job, but it's necessary. It's been through a lot. There's a lot of history of Saturn, but most people have a lot of karma to be and interaction entanglement with Saturn that they need to resolve. A large amount of people on the planet. I've resolved most of mine, so he's not the most negative being I've ever met. You would want to resolve things with Saturn and every planet in the solar system to actualize things, because they do hold up a man's place of why they exist and how they've interacted with beings backward and forwards in time. Most people on this planet have interacted or have versions of themselves in pretty much every planet in the solar system. So it's advantageous to lay down the swords and not be fighting these beings, but also becoming aware of what's attacking them and over haunting them, so that a large amount of karma or entanglement negative that a person may track back gets an understanding that the planet is usually not attacking people themselves. It has Saturn, like as an example, Saturn has lots of hell realms that it quarantines beings in that it doesn't like that are attacking it, that it then captures and does things with. Sometimes that bleeds out and affects things, as well as all of the beings that are part of that management system to keep that quarantined and resolved in a system of bringing beings out of full darkness back into light, and all these things with Source that are going on with that, and every other planet that has a similar system. So you'll be tracking a lot of beings back to Saturn that you can, if you are remedying with Saturn and not being his enemy, then you can just tell him that and he'll take care of a large amount of it, as well as you're interacting to resolve things with versions of yourself on that planet that has an entangle with other negative beings. And that goes into his targeting because he's constantly taking care of beings all the time. So he gets to it eventually, but as like people need it done fast in a certain time when they become aware of it, bringing it up to him, he's got a lot on his plate. So I track back certain things like curses being imprinted onto planets like Saturn to dominate them or get them to a change in who they are and expression that affects the rest of the equation that we have here, and then use them to omnidirectionally emit out curses, as well as them somewhat being involved because they understand that technology greatly and have used it themselves. But in Remedy, you can, so like beings like Aldebaran or Draco or whatever negative species you could think of that uses curse technology is imprinting onto Saturn to use its rings as a radio tower signal to emit at a stronger rate curses onto other planets as well as targeting specific people. So like that as an example. And then a counter chess move to that can be made, as well as protection and resolution with the planet itself, which I do. And I have no beef with Saturn. I am now friends with him. I'm friends with every planet in the solar system. I can resolve any drama you guys got with these planets, and I'll help to make sure that happens. And then if you know, working towards celestial oracleship, beings can seek that. I do recommend when working with any planet, especially any planet that's not a version of you, and if it's a planet in this solar system, because this solar system is high drama, it's like super drama, that you do it through a filtering, auditing, managing process by source. Any being you interact with, sometimes things are gonna bleed over between you. Recommend that when interacting with any of the planets in the solar system too. It's not their fault as much as like because they're holding space for billions of beings on their surface that come with their own baggage, or their other realms, existences, etc. Because not all the planets have a surface space for holding life other than energetic plasma or elemental format. They'll have other realms that will hold space. It depends, and also internal structures. Depends on what layer you're perceiving. So I'd recommend resolving things with other planets if you track back a curse to a mission of them for people that haven't already resolved things with these planetary minds, because you eventually will have to anyway. It's kind of all a part of the game that's going on here. I've also tracked back curse masters, which are beings that are really aware of curses as a technology and then use them very efficiently, or even paid to. It depends on the system's domination control, what species they're in, how old, if they go back in time, all kinds of things. I'll mostly find them with species other than human because they know more about science than us. So I will find curse masters mostly in the past with our human species, and those are pretty potent as well. And some are existing today, some recruited by the military. So there is a skill and art to tracking the curses back without triggering the booby traps. So hit me up, or KJ, Scoops, or most of the people if we are going to have on our site are going to be trained to do this. I also do resolution processes of all types. It depends on the individual and what they're dealing with for the curses, and creating counter chess moves so they don't get re-imprinted back on, because that will often happen with a lot of things with targeted individuals, or people that are interacting with the system most at all, or haunted people. They'll end up dealing with things that don't want them to have what they have and want what they have. I teach how to remove curses again, so we can go into that as well. I also see curses with lots of animals, horses, dogs, cats. Depends on the DNA, as well as who they were in spirit, how they've been abused through history, dominated as an animal spirit, or even if they were human at some point and then came into back into a human form. Back into an animal form, and that can affect them and how they manifest, how they act, all kinds of things, and getting rid of the curses can make wonders for it. Everything can be resolved, really, so come contact us if you want to remove them. We can do that for you. Just if you want to get a hold of us at silvercordss.com or Silvercord Spiritual Science on YouTube. We're also on Facebook. You can reach me, Sean Bond, or KJ Scoops, or whatever employees we'll have in the future. And hope you have a wonderful day. You can contact us by reaching our executive assistant, Mary, at mokorn@hotmail.com. And we look forward to hearing from you.